Hey everybody, I'm going to share something with you that I think is pretty fascinating. Sort of a principle that I came upon, that how to write the big chorus. And I talk about this in great detail at steveleslie.com, at the Fine Art of Songwriting, my subscription model there. But I'm just going to give you sort of an overview of this, sort of the wet your whistle, hopes that you'll get over there and learn the rest of it. But how to write the big chorus, how to write the kind of song where that big chorus just knocks it out of the park. So what do you do? Well, I call it delayed gratification and the power of one. Whoa, fancy. Delayed gratification and the power of one. Well, delayed gratification is what? Well, it's putting off something that you want now later because the reward is going to be worth it. You don't go out with the guys on the weekend because you want to study for a big test on Monday. That's more important. You're going to delay the gratification of the celebration after you ace the test, or you want to lose a few pounds before you head to the beach in a couple weeks, so you say no to the cheesecake. So you're delaying the gratification. The reward is better if you just wait for it rather than satisfying it now. So what does that mean in writing songs, especially the big chorus type of song? Well, we're going to set up a need to gratify something, and the need is going to be the resolution for the root position 1 chord. What? A root position 1 chord. If we're in G, as you may have learned from some of the other videos I've done and at the website, the subscription model, there are different ways to play chords and inversions. And one of the ways to play the chord is with the root at the bottom. So if we're in G, G is the root. Everybody plays that G chord. Well, it's the G on the bottom. G root, that's the root position 1 chord. Root is on the bottom, G in this case. So we want to delay, and there's such a need to resolve to that home chord in a chord progression that you can just... Here we go. 1 root position 1 chord. Ah, there it is. There it is. So there's this physiological need that we're just wired to want that resolution. And so my contention is delay that root position 1 chord to the very top of the chorus, to the very beginning of the chorus, while setting up an expectation for it in the sections preceding the top of the chorus. Okay? And the best way to set up that top of the chorus root position 1 chord is by a 5 chord. Because the 5, 1, D, in this case, D, G, 5, 1, or even more specifically, D7, 5, 7, 1, 5, 1, from other videos. And at the website, we talked about the 5 chord is kind of like third base on the baseball diamond. Third base, it wants to get home, and it's in the 5-7, it's stealing home. It wants to get home. So if you want to resolve to the root position 1 chord anywhere, but specifically at the top of the chorus in this case, set it up by the 5-7, and then the top of the chorus, you come down on that 1 chord. The first time you hear it, if you can delay the 1 chord, the root position 1 chord, until the very beginning of the chorus, the only time you hear it, the first time you hear it, I should say, then it really knocks it out of the park. That's going to be hard to do, and I'll show you some alternatives to that. But here's an example of a song that I wrote that employs that. I'll just do the verse and chorus. First, the intro goes like, dee da 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 da, dee da 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 da. In the middle of the day, when I've got a million things to do, I'll think of you. And the thought takes me away to another place and time when you were mine. Didn't we dance? Wasn't it real? Who could have guessed how good it would feel in each other's arms? Didn't we shine? Wasn't it right for a moment in time? Though it was never meant to last, didn't we dance? Second verse, chorus, out. So, do you feel that when we finally got to that chorus? Didn't we dance? Ah, there it is, big chorus. And it was the first time I played a root position 1 chord, wasn't it? No, it actually wasn't. And I'll give you a little lesson here. It's very hard to stay away from a root position 1 chord until the top of the chorus, because you've only got, what, 6 usable chords mostly in commercial music most of the time. So, gosh, it's hard to stay away from the root position 1 chord. So what I did in this case is I disguised it some. And if you're going to use a root position 1 chord, G on the bottom, before the beginning of the chorus, then there's things you can do. You can disguise it. You can play a different chord that has other notes in it, like a G, add, this has a 6th, no, this has a 9 in it, with a D on the top. It has less of that fundamental G. When you put other notes on top of that root, it takes that pull away from the 1, doesn't it? It just, you're up in here a little bit more, that harmonic, it's less of that fundamental sound. Right? So I played this one. It's like a G with a 9th added and the another 5th on top. I'm not playing the 3rd, actually. I like that chord. So it's taking the root. I mean, the root position is still there, but it's got some other colors above it that doesn't give it that fundamental home sound where there's only a root 3rd and a 5th in the chord. So if you have to disguise the 1 chord before delivering it at the top of the chorus, then you can do it by inversions. You can do it by adding other notes to the chord, or added chord tones, or extended chords, right? And so that's the first chord in the intro. In the da 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 da. Now the top of the verse, instead of going to the root position of any kind, I inverted it, and I have a 1 chord with a 3rd on the bottom. In the middle. So it's a G with a B on the bottom. Inversion. So instead of the root position, you've got that 3rd on the bottom, which definitely keeps it away from that root position, stable sort of sound and feeling. So that's a 1/3. In the middle of the day. And then some other chords that stay away from that root position 1 chord until the very top of the chorus. And I do set that root position chord up by a 5/7 chord. Suspended, then D7, didn't we dance? First time you get a root position 1 chord with just 3 notes in it, with just root 3rd and 5th. So it gives it that fundamental feeling that we need. So if you have to use a 1 chord, disguise it. You can invert it like I did in the verses. In the middle of the day, or invert it, or add chord tones on top of it that again give it that less than fundamental root position sort of feeling, and save that for the very top of the chorus. Some great examples that I explore more on the subscription platform is Breathe and I'm Already There, and there's some great examples of this sort of treatment. Now, the one thing I'll wind up by saying this: you definitely want a big idea to land at the top of the chorus. You don't want to set up this big expectation and then end up with, I love my dog, or, little cabin home in the hills, or I'm in my quiet place, right? Anything, because it doesn't quite work with the big setup. Here's the big revelation. Here's the big disclosure of meaning, and it ends up on a title like something that's way too subtle, that should be, dealt with in a different way. That's why these big chorus songs work with titles like Breathe and I'm Already There and I Swear and I Can't Make You Love Me If You Don't. And, it's got to be that big title to fit the big chorus idea. Okay, cool. Well, again, that's just an overview. There's a lot more to that you can learn at the website, steveleslie.com, and join the subscription class if you'd like, and there's so much there, and I hope you can justify the minimal cost. And okay, there you go. Bye-bye.